Hi friends, I wanted to do a quick video on something that I've been thinking about, and I know this is backwards to you, but something that I always struggled with as a victim of abuse, narcissistic abuse and child abuse, is understanding where the limits of things are. For example, self-touch or modesty, or like certain selfish behaviors or things that I would perceive to be maybe selfish. But this is something that I have learned over the years when I, felt guilt about like what kind of videos I was watching, like sex education videos versus pornography, stuff like that. I often saw it as like a black and white, one side, yes or no, are you or are you not? But now as I've grown and matured, I see it as a pendulum. And the moderation in all things. I have a few scriptures here: Alma 38:12, Philippians 4:5, and DNC 59:18 for some examples. I believe from my own experience and my own personal revelation that God wants us to be in this healthy middle zone. Okay. So when we hear prophets and apostles and other, bishops or teachers telling us to beware of, masturbation, for example, they don't want us to get in this habit zone. They don't want us to get into the place where we are neglecting our duties, or all we can think about is the next time we can get our next fix, right? Or into the area of where you're on the other extreme, finally like abusing other people because your self-touch or your pornography use isn't good enough anymore and you need to move on. Okay, but there's also this other extreme of neglect and laziness, okay? So when we are sexually abused, for example, we're way up here usually, okay? Some of us know, some of us maybe go to this side, hopefully not, but a lot of us are here. And we start to neglect our own needs, and we start to pull away from it because we feel like we're dirty, shameful, wrong. And if we use self-touch, for example, or sex education videos that help us in our relationships, it brings us more to this moderation level and helps us to find balance in our marriages, in our sexual relationships, and in our ability to give, as mothers and wives and daughters and all sorts of stuff, more when we receive that balance, right? Anyways, this is what I think of. So if our habits are coming over here, that's kind of where the prophets and apostles, like I said, are trying to tone it back in, to tone it down, to make sure that it doesn't get to this abuse level. But yeah, we just have to beware of the pendulum. Anyways, I hope that helps.